presented. Approval of the current financial report. You've all received a copy of the financial report from the auditor. I need a motion to approve that, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to approve the current financial report. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Hottishell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Approval of the agenda. I have a need for an executive session at the conclusion of the call of council regarding Ohio Revised Code 12122G2, which deals with the purchase of property or sale of property for public use. And that's all I have.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as amended. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Hottishell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Well, any members of the audience wishing to address council may do so at this time. Please come and state your name and address and whatever. We have such a large crowd this evening. I thought maybe you will be clamoring for the microphone. Seeing none, we will proceed with the agenda. Move to administrative reports. Mayor Willman.
A few things. First of all, don't forget First Friday's coming up at the end of the week, Friday. The theme is popcorn and prohibition. I don't know if anybody at the council was going to bring that up later on, but kind of features the old popcorn lady. It used to be around the courthouse, Ida Thomas, for years and years and years. Sold some popcorn there. Look it up, or Jeff had a little more to talk about later on. Be interesting. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a first of the kind for that theme, so it'll be fun. The next thing I got is we had a long-time employee, one of the nicest people you meet, Janice Mills. Her maiden name is Klosterman through school. 18 years at the fire department secretary, and certainly wish her well. Friday we had a retirement party basically, and cooked out some. Had a cookout. Fire department provided brats and hamburgers and big carry-in, and it was a really great day. She had a lot of family in, and since she was retired on Friday, that Saturday her son got married, so it was kind of a big, exciting weekend for family. So anybody sees her that didn't get to, say congratulations to her and see her. She'll be back in. She likes everybody here, so she'll be back say hi. So one other thing, last time we met, we had a little announcement that we were going to meet with some people from Marathon Speedway, and we had that happen. Tracy even was able to come. It was kind of cool, somebody from the public, more or less from nowadays, and Jeff was there, and then our regular crew of fire, police, water department, sewage department, wastewater, what do you call it, and Chad, Kurt and I. So it went well, went over the plans for the building of a new building and changing the whole layout of their speedway, which is down at the end of East Main and Wagner. So looks like a great plan. It was definitely well received, that's for sure. We told them it looked good and gave them a lot of pointers on where water might be hooked up, that kind of thing. And then getting to the end of that, one person, we were kind of disappointed that a executive from the corporation wasn't really there, but the site manager for construction was there that actually worked for Speedway Marathon. So we, at the end of that, we told him our story about the abandoned gas stations in town, and it felt as though that the community and us supported their business and were partners, and we would do anything we can to help them build a new building and support their business, and we even buy gas from them. And we told them that if they would tell their people, executives of the corporation, that we need some serious conversation with them. If they want to build a new building in Greenville, that we may have to have a serious talk, and that may not happen if they don't help us out and be a community partner with us, because we are certainly with them. So this place has been sitting there for 15 years at minimum, and they look horrible. Everybody knows that, and so we certainly ask them to relay that information on to the executives at Speedway Marathon. So that was just the end of it. A couple of good guys that told us they understood what's going on, and they would certainly let us know what's going on in the future with near future with their decisions that they make with their bosses that they have. So that's where we stand, waiting for a reply again. So anybody any questions, that'll be done. That's all I got. I'll pass. If you want to add to that?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Garrison, Community Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Good evening, Council. Three things to discuss with you this evening. First topic, would like to revisit the city aggregation program. In November of 2016, city voters approved for City Council to enter a program called aggregation, both for electric rates and for natural gas rates. The electric contract was secured through Dynergy at a rate of 5.29 cents, so almost 5.3 cents per kilowatt hour. At the time that the city of Greenville elected to enter the aggregation program, other municipalities like Bellefontaine, Anna, Ansonia, Covington, Wayne Lakes, West Milton, Newberry Township, DeGraff, Quincy, Bell Center, Jeffersonville, Coldwater, and Fort Recovery all passed the aggregation program at the same time. And we felt by going together as several communities and bidding out all of our electric needs at one time, we would be able to obtain a better rate. And that was for a 3-year contract, and that 3-year contract will retire in 2020. So with all that, a new municipality, this I guess the city of Urbana, has elected to enter the aggregation program as well. And at the same time, the same company that went out on the market and obtained rates for the city of Greenville and all those other municipalities is also working with Urbana. And what they found when they bid out Urbana's rate, Urbana received almost at an even 5 cents per kilowatt hour, so a little bit better than ours. And just to see what would happen, that company, and the gentleman's name is Jordan Herman, they bid out collectively all of the municipalities and said, what kind of a rate would we get if these folks, their contract expires in 2020, Urbana goes for another 19 months, what would these cities' rates look like if they piggybacked onto the Urbana rate? And it was just a hypothetical bid, and what they found out is that they could obtain a sub-5 kilowatt hour price, somewhere between 4.8 and 4.9 cents per kilowatt hour. That is a very good rate. And looking at other municipalities that have entered into the aggregation program, that is the best rate in the state of Ohio, definitely the best rate in the DP&L area. The ordinance that City Council passed back in 2016 would allow for a designee, and Council's designee was the mayor of the city of Greenville, to enter into contracts that had to be longer than 1 year. So we've been in the aggregation program for about 19 months. The folks from the aggregation company are asking the city of Greenville if they would be willing to lock in for an additional 19 months along with the city of Urbana and these other municipalities to garner a rate of somewhere sub-5 cents per kilowatt hour. I feel that that would be very good for our community, as I don't think we've seen that through the winter season unless you were an all-electric DP&L customer. All-electric DP&L customers, I believe, got down into the 4.5, the 4.6 range, but you had to be an all-electric household to be able to obtain that rate if you were a DP&L customer. This really doesn't need council action, but wanted to bring it forward to council and kind of get their thoughts and or support behind that matter. And if we have council support or non-support, we'll have a conversation with the folks from the aggregation company tomorrow morning, because as you know, with commodity and electric commodities, you need to act fast to lock in the price. So I present that before you this evening. Any questions?
How long, go ahead. How long is that offer available? I mean, at that rate?
We need to do it as soon as possible, and what the intention is to get Greenville, some of the bigger ones. If we can get Greenville, Bell Fountain, and the Fort Recoveries on board, I figure the smaller municipalities will follow in suit. But if the bigger municipalities say, no, we're going to just kind of hold off and see what rates do later, then the smaller municipalities may not. It's kind of an all or none. We all have to be in this together to get that kind of a rate.
That sounds like a good deal, though.
Normally, midterm, we would not have this kind of an opportunity. Is that right?
I don't want to say you won't, because we do. It's just the fact that this is where electric prices are at right now.
Okay.
And it seemed like,
this addition of this other community.
I'm sorry?
But it is because.
It is because of the addition of a community about the size of Greenville with, I'm guessing, a lot of usage. So that helps to drive our costs down. And it seems that electric suppliers right now like the long-term, whereas the short-term prices are not as good. So when you can put your supply out there several years in advance, they're more aggressive with the pricing.
It sounds like a common sense thing to do.
Does anyone not want to consider this? And will it require any change in the legislation, or just the mayor can,
It would not.
on behalf of council, can go ahead and approve that?
Correct, because the mayor was designated as council's designee to enter into those contracts, provided that the contract was longer than 1 year. Okay, thank you. And then the two other items that I have for you tonight both revolve around personnel. I believe it was either late last year or earlier this year, we had some restructuring of the street department. And within that restructuring, we reinstituted the street lead, if you will, which is or crew leader, which is a person that goes out into the actual job site in various areas of the city and manages the full and part-time employees to make sure that the work gets done. When we were looking ahead, we knew that the maintenance position that was responsible for the street sweeper, that person would be resigning this year. And it was our thought that it did not make sense that we were paying someone the wage of a maintenance worker to drive around in the street sweeper all day long. So in order to remove that position from the full-time, it was entertained that the city would institute a part-time street sweeper. And that person would be a part-time worker, non-union. When we made those revisions within the street department, or we talked about them, we never did anything with the strength ordinance or the pay scale. So what we're ready to do that, as the individual who operated the street sweeper has since resigned. And side note, the new street sweeper showed up today. And we are ready to fill that position with a part-time worker. But I need council's approval to bring legislation forward at the next meeting to amend the strength ordinance and then also to set the wage scale. And what we are looking to do with the wage scale, I believe, was a grade 6 part-time employee. And that, let's see, how do I have that written up? So that part-time employee would work no more than 1,062 hours a year, which I believe is 32 hours a week. And the way it would be worded is that the employee would work 32 hours a week and it may go over, but on average, it would be the 32 hours a week, not to exceed 1,062 hours in a year's time. We have had a lot of discussion about that, or some discussion about that previously. I'm not sure if this particular topic warrants a committee assignment. However, I do have another topic that I know will warrant a committee assignment, and that particular topic also revolves around personnel. So I have 2 committee assignments prepared. Let me get through the next one, and then let's decide how we would like to handle each one. The second personnel issue I have comes out of the water department. And the Ohio EPA revises its rules every 5 years. And recently, the Ohio EPA revised the rule about operators of record. And the city of Greenville is required by the Ohio EPA to have an operator of record on site for 40 hours per week. This includes holidays, includes weekends. But any combination, an operator of record has to be at the plant or as a part of the duties of the city of Greenville for 40 hours. What's new about the rules and regulations from the EPA is that now the EPA is requiring us to submit our time. Before, they would come in and they would enter a logbook of what their time was, what maybe happened for the day, but the EPA didn't necessarily follow that to a T. It wasn't one of the criteria that they were always looking at. Now they're going to be looking at it because as you submit your monthly reports, we have to have an operator of record on there and 40 hours accounted for. So if right now, our plant superintendent, Gary Evans, is our operator of record, there is no other. So if Gary gets sick, if Gary goes on vacation, if there's a holiday and Gary takes off for the holiday, we would be in violation of that 40-hour rule. First thought was to go to the existing union employees and ask the question, would you want to become an operator of record? And they're all level 3 operators, so they could most certainly fulfill that duty if they chose to. There was a meeting that happened between Gary and the union representative, and it was determined that the amount of money that the union would require for an additional operator of record, plus the fact that no one was really garnering a warm and fuzzy feeling that any of the employees really wanted that responsibility. So therefore, and after a lengthy conversation between Gary and Eric Brand, law director, concerning the issue, it was determined that maybe the best course of action for the city would be to employ an assistant superintendent, and this person would be in a supervisory role. Our union contract states that any supervisory role employee may not be or shall not be a part of the union. So this would be a non-union position if created. It so happens we are currently in a position where we had an operator resign. So we have an open position that needs to be filled at the water plant currently, and this would be a tested position. The proposal would be to eliminate that union position and take that body and make them the assistant superintendent. It makes our hiring requirements a lot more stringent, not a little, but a lot, because we need to hire a level 3 certified water operator immediately. So this means that really the only way we can do that is to hire that person away from another plant. This is not the common person walking down the street is not going to be able to fill that position. So I've really given you the long version this evening, the whys and the wherefores. Not sure that you would be able to really grasp all of that decision tonight, especially the financial impact. I think we need to look at, okay, what did that maintenance worker cost us, and now what is the assistant superintendent going to cost us? Giving it a quick overview, we already have that, and we've talked about it here just recently. We have that mid-level manager, I believe that's the grade 19 position that's been established for all like assistant superintendents or assistant managers. We have them as police lieutenants. We have them as the assistant fire chief. So we already have that step or grade and step system already in place for the city. So that is my request this evening, that we might move that forward or at least have more discussion. I would suggest to do that in a committee assignment. That way we could, if we decide to move forward with that, we would be able to prepare the 2019 budget accordingly. And this is maybe something that, depending on how soon we could hire someone, that we implement yet in 2018.
Regarding the part-time street sweeper operator, that position, the sweeper operator is open, correct?
We do not technically have a position that is designated as street sweeper, whether full-time or part-time. It's just something that a maintenance worker inside the street department, a union employee, handles that position. And generally that has been a job that, traditionally that has been a job that one with the most seniority, so it's your highest paid maintenance worker, is usually in that position.
I guess I was looking at it as that something that the administration could fulfill with the help of the street superintendent in that department, or is that something that we as council need to consider? If that's the case, I will make both of these assignments to the personnel committee.
Yeah, we need, as far as council action, we would need to amend the strength ordinance.
That's right.
And then also set a rate of pay.
Okay.
If council was in agreement to that we felt that we've already had enough discussion about it, I could have that legislation prepared for the next meeting. Or if they feel that we need to have more discussion on that particular topic at a committee, then so be it.
What's the, other than urgent on the water department, that assistant superintendent, what's the urgency of that? I mean, do we need the next couple of months, the next month to get it started in 2019?
For which?
The water.
The water?
Yeah.
I would suggest that we do it sooner than later.
Okay.
I would like, so that we can, as we go through the budget process, I think budgets are due in 2 weeks to the auditor for 2019. So I don't suspect that the committee assignment will be done in 2 weeks, but.
No pressure.
Is that EPA reporting, is that something we're currently doing now? Is that already switched
Yeah,
over to this?
the EPA reporting happens online every month.
Yeah.
Right now, it's Gary's name that's on all of those reports. If something were to happen to Gary, he needed a lengthy, extended absence, we would need somebody of operator of record to be able to fill out
Exactly.
those reports.
So the workload itself is
And we're the
basically the same, but we need someone that's
Yeah.
certified to do.
basically, but there is a level of responsibility that comes with it.
Absolutely.
Because you are accountable to the EPA. If there was a violation within our plant while that particular person was on duty, it's their watch, and they're accountable for the actions of all of the employees. So it's one that has to be able to oversee the entire plant, whether it be in the lab or out into the distribution system. And that's where I believe the interest deteriorates among our existing employees, as they do not want that responsibility.
Yeah.
Do any of those people that you're talking about that don't want the responsibility, you think any of them would be qualified and interested in that assistant position, if that's the direction we go?
Well, I believe, they've it's already been offered to them, and they've turned it down, in essence. And we threw out some hypothetical wages, and it just didn't make, I believe it would be more feasible and maybe more productive going this route than.
So it wouldn't necessarily need to be, I mean, like Gary's doing the reporting now. If someone else, if we get an assistant, and say they were off for a couple days, Gary could cover it, and as long as it's a combination of 40 hours?
That is correct.
Okay.
So what that looks like, let's use this week as an example. We had Labor Day on Monday. Somebody's going to be working the holiday, okay, whether it's Gary or whether it's the assistant. And as a salary employee, you're not paying, you're getting basically 8 hours holiday pay as a salary, because this would be a salary position. So actually, there would be no holidays, just your straight time. Whereas if I'm a level 3 inside the plant, I'm probably doing about double time, if not 2.5 times, working on a holiday. So
Yeah, it's got to be made up somewhere.
yeah, and please, we can drill deeper into this during the committee meeting. There are more duties than just putting your name on a report every month
Sure.
that we look to move forward with. So
Thank you.
Okay, well then, with that, I would assign both of these to the Personnel Committee. Mr. Whitaker, Ms. Howden-Shell, and Mr. Wright. And ask that you possibly have this by the first meeting in October. Would that work?
sure.
Okay. I want to pass that down to Mr. Whitaker, please. No pressure, but get it done.
Get her done. You got it.
With that, I will pass. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Law Director, Mr. Brand.
I better pass before something else goes bad.
City Auditor, Mrs. Wellman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I shall pass as well.
We have one committee report. There was supposed to be another one scheduled out of the Finance Committee, an assignment that they had received on some wage issues, and they requested an extension at least until the second meeting in December. So I will grant that to the Finance Committee for that review, and expect a report by the second meeting in December. Now, moving on, after Miscellaneous and Priority Affairs, Needs Committee reviewed the 2018 Department of Natural Resources Land and Water Conservation Grant.
A report dated August 30th, 2018. Honorable members, we hereby submit a report. The Miscellaneous Affairs and Priority Needs Committee met on August 29th, 2018 to review the 2018 Ohio Department of Natural Resources Land and Water Conservation Grant. This grant, if funded, would provide partial funding for the installation of a splash pad at South Park. The committee may recommend to council project specifications, budgets, and local funding requirements. The committee recommends to council to apply for an Ohio Department of Natural Resources grant in the amount of $450,000 for the construction of a splash pad and the remodeling of restrooms in South Park. A $450,000 project will require a local match of $225,000. Respectfully submitted, Committee on Miscellaneous Affairs and Priority Needs, Chairman Dory Howdeshell, Vice Chairman Jeff Whitaker, and Member Leon Rogers.
Report.
Move to accept the committee report.
Motion by Mr. Schmidt to accept the committee's report. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Howdeshell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Okay, report is submitted and passed, so thank you for your time on that. Nothing else under committee reports, and moving on to ordinance and resolutions. We have three considered. First, an ordinance supplemental appropriations.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018. This ordinance authorizes appropriations to the general fund for office supplies treasurer in the amount of $1,200. These funds are needed for the renewal of the treasurer bond from December 31st of 17 through December 31st of 2021. Healthcare premiums, income tax in the amount of $5,565. The funds are needed to cover healthcare premium changes for income tax employees. And to the park fund for new trees planting park in the amount of $2,870. These funds are needed to purchase trees for the park and were paid for by private donations. And to the healthcare fund for administrative expenses healthcare in the amount of $2,000. Stop loss healthcare in the amount of $90,000. Claims healthcare in the amount of $204,000. These appropriations are needed for healthcare coverage through year end.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Mr. Godwin, to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Cottrell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018.
Move to adopt the ordinance?
Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Cottrell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Next, we have a transfer ordinance.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. This ordinance allows a transfer to the general fund from legal counsel court cases law director in the amount of $1,000 to professional services law director in the amount of $1,000. This transfer is needed to cover additional dismissed court cases.
Move to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only?
Motion by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, ordinance by title, second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Cottrell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville.
Motion to adopt this ordinance?
Motion by Mrs. Howdeshell to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll.
Hensley,
Yes.
Cottrell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
And finally, we have a resolution to accept amounts and rates determined by the Budget Commission authorizing certified tax levies.
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. This resolution accepts the amount and rates for the tax budget for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2019, as established by the Dark County Budget Commission.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second, third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Cottrell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adopt the resolution. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Cottrell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
And that concludes our resolution. We have nothing under old, under new business at Division of Liquor Control transfer.
A letter dated September 4th, 2018. Dear Clerk, I have no objection to the transfer of liquor permit 1918034 from Daniel St. New Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as Danny's Place at 308 South Broadway, Greenville, Ohio 45331, to liquor permit 5024876, Larry D. Baker Enterprises at 308 South Broadway, Greenville, Ohio 45331. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Chief Stritt.
My understanding that he had some problems with, I'm not sure owning an establishment, but being in the establishment through a court proceeding or something. That was, what's out there as far as public knowledge.
But that-
Whether that's true or not, I don't
That
know.
doesn't deal with this issue here. It's a transfer, right?
Right, it's a transfer, but,
Okay. Well, that, I think, is a legal issue that should be left to the legalese. That's my personal opinion.
At this point, is a hearing being asked if it is needed or wanted, or?
That's just, the percent chief is not opposed. Unless there's some recommendation to the contrary, no, there wouldn't be a hearing.
But we could request a hearing.
Good request to hear.
I would suggest the council
Huh?
hearing.
Pardon? I'm sorry, what?
We had a similar issue at a convenience store on the east end of town. Maybe not the same issues amongst the owners, but I believe the hearing might be warranted.
That's council's choice.
I would request a hearing.
A motion by Mr. Rogers to let this council request a hearing on that issue. Discussion? Further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Addishell,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Okay. So you do request a hearing. Now, who do we send that to? Mr. Counselor?
Council.
I haven't seen the
Liquor control?
liquor control notice. It never it's across my desk, but that's
Okay.
should be addressed to.
So is it go to you to proceed on with that, or that was coming from the mayor's office? What's next?
I would say it's probably appropriate to have the mayor request the hearing.
Okay. Okay, all right. Here. Sure. I think I signed it. Okay, any items of communication?
A monthly report was received from the Income Tax Department, and a letter dated August 16, 2018 from the Garst Museum was received offering appreciation to the city for their contribution to the 8th Annual Gathering at Garst events. A Cities and Villages magazine was received from the OML for July and August of 2018, and a 2018 and 19 Guide to Arts and Culture in the Dayton Region magazine was received. These reports, letters, and magazines were distributed to council.
Okay. If there's no other items of communication, call down the council, please.
Mr. Hensley?
I will pass.
Mrs. Sattishell?
I will pass.
Mr. Rogers?
I'm going to pass tonight.
Mr. Schmidt?
I wanted to just mention, I wasn't able to make it up to the open house for Janice the other day, but just wish her good luck and hope she enjoys her retirement. And with that, I'll pass.
Mr. Whitaker?
I had the opportunity to go to that meeting with the Speedway officials, and I was glad that I did. And it was good to see Tracy there as well. I think we do have the opportunity to use a little bit of leverage regarding their new project on Wagner to expand and rebuild that Speedway station, which I think we need to be as well behind them as possible. However, we do need to hold them accountable to what they're going to do for us regarding those buildings. So I think we need to really follow up on that and stick on them and see what we can get done. Those obviously are eyesores, have been down. Tracy indicated one's been closed for over 15 years and the other one over 10. And to have abandoned buildings, and now they're more than abandoned, they're dilapidated. To have those standing is absolutely ridiculous, and they need to help us out in that regard and get rid of those buildings. So, but we do look forward to that new project they're doing on Speedway, on Wagner, and it's going to be a nice facility when it's done. I think they're starting it next spring, right? So, I also want to just again remind everybody on First Friday The popcorn and prohibition, has been talking about that all year. That's a new theme that they've come up with. And regarding those two, I love popcorn. I'm definitely against prohibition. So with that, I'll pass.
Mr. Wright?
How is the 4th Street project going?
It's proceeding nicely. The contractor has started to install sidewalks this week. It's going to be a lengthy process to get all the sidewalks in because of the nature of their work and what they have to do in the roadway. We will most likely walls will be paving that before they leave town from our maintenance paving, which should be by the end of the month that they'll have the base and intermediate level of asphalt down on the area that is currently tore up. To keep moving and to accomplish the completion date of May 2019, they would like to start working in the other area as soon as possible. That would mean that the remainder of the trees will be coming down soon. The street lighting company is still in town. They would proceed with getting their underground in as far as the conduit and the bases for the street light. Hopefully by the time that has been completed, the paving is done, and we have determined that once the paving is done on what is currently tore up, they may proceed to the next section in tearing that asphalt up and start their underground storm work. So I would hope by sometime early October we've moved forward into that next section.
Thank you. I'll pass.
Mr. Godwin?
Yeah, I do, after the first Friday, this coming up here Friday, Saturday is, if I'm right on the time, is the car show.
Our show starts at 2 o'clock on Saturday.
And,
Hopefully the weather cooperates.
no hurricanes. And then I wanted to find out what was going on with the bike racks.
Actually, Ryan and I discussed the bike racks today, and he was going to make a phone call to Krista as it is getting late into the potential biking season to see if we might hold off until next spring and install those bike racks. The other thing that we have hanging out there and we've not heard word is that we have this grant for the replacement of sidewalk pavers. It would be really nice to, if we got that grant, that we would incorporate the new pavers or whatever we're doing with the installation of the bike racks, or at least the foundations at that time.
That'll pass.
President Burkett?
Yes, I would just again like to thank Janice Mills for her service to the city of Greenville, a number of years. Again, Mr. Tryon, I'm showing my age. She was one of my former students at Greenville High School, and now she's retiring. Isn't that amazing? No wonder I'm so old. And also had the opportunity Saturday to go out and talk to the horseshoe pitchers a little bit. And quite an event, there really was. And I think they had perhaps more entrants this year than they've had for a while. It always impresses me that they have, not a lot, but they have cadets and juniors participating, and both young ladies and young gentlemen, and it is really neat to see younger people taking part in the sport. And of course they had the ladies as well, and gentlemen, and they have doubles and mixed doubles and all kinds of things. So it was quite an event, and we're appreciative of them being here. 55 or 56 or 57 some years that they've been coming to the city of Greenville for the state horseshoe pitching tournament. And they are very appreciative of the city's support as well. So with that, I will pass, and we need to entertain a motion to rise to executive session.
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Howdeshell, to rise to executive session. Call the roll, please.
Hensley?
Yes.
Howdeshell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Thank you for your attendance. We'll stand in short recess while we clear the chambers. Shut down the TV.